Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FB4 Daily. It is Tuesday. It is the 14th of August. The last time I checked, I could be wrong. But if it is, it is. If it's not, it's not. There's nothing we can do about it now. I've gone there, and I can't do anything about it. Tonight's show, of course, is brought to you by Paddy Power. Paddy Power is a bookmaker. You can get their app on your Apple devices, on your Android devices, all your devices. You can get odds on football, all other sports, and everything else beyond that. If you like gambling, try Paddy Power's app. Gamble responsibly. If you don't like gambling, disregard everything I've said. Pretend I didn't say it, and we go from there. What are we going to do tonight? Well, I have Grizz on the line, and I have Louis, who's a Chelsea fan, on the line. So we're going to talk about, I suppose, Liverpool from the weekend, a little bit, Chelsea from the weekend, a couple of, line-up predictions, score predictions, and look, if you have any general questions, whether that be about Liverpool or Chelsea, absolutely walk away and ask the lads. Just be nice. Don't be stupid. Let's be honest. That's the only way I can put it to you. Straight in, Ray Dickinson asks, Keita thoughts. Looks like a tight muscle. He may be alright, he may not. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with my guest, who's not Grizz. It's Louis. Louis, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to start off the show with I watched Chelsea at the weekend, okay, against United. I thought they were good for about 40 minutes or so, and then there was more or less a collapse, and every time they lost the ball, they looked like they were in danger. And it just got me thinking about the squad they have. I know they're restricted in what they could do in the transfer window because of embargoes against transfers and different things, but is there more to come from this Chelsea team, do you think? And can you just run down on the players they may have been missing from Sunday? Because I was looking at the likes of Gary Cahill was gone, David Luiz was gone. I was looking at centre half thinking they look very short. What players can we expect to possibly come in here tomorrow night?
Well, I think, to be honest, the squad that you see is going to be the squad that you're going to be facing. Willian and Rudiger have been confirmed to be back from injuries, and they are currently looking to be on the bench for the game tomorrow. So whether they'll get a look in will be something which is up for debate. I'm not 100% certain. But look, for me, as a Chelsea fan, and I'm sure for a lot of Chelsea fans at the moment, due to the transfer embargo and what is quite frankly just a completely fresh start from Chelsea, if you look at the amount of youth players that are in the setup, it seems like this season there was almost a write-off is harsh, but I'd say it's an opportunity to develop and try some new stuff. I think, to be honest, it's just going to be an experimentation season. Lampard is going to be given that time because, let's be frank, there's no one else that's available that is going to come in. There is no one that will take that job right now unless it is another club legend, which would just be a sideways move, if not a step backwards with the staff that Lampard's brought in as well, such as Jody Morris, who understands the setup and can help get that movement from the youth to the first team. But, I mean, in terms of start 11, it probably will be Zuma and Christensen as your two centre-halves, which does worry me. I think the 40 minutes is a bit harsh. I think the thing about that game is we looked good for about 60. We looked good, but the thing is, it was just a case of Manchester United took their opportunities and took their chances, and kind of moved the game in their direction just by being clinical where we weren't. And I think, obviously, let's be honest, against you guys and that front three, we're going to be in a bit of a pickle. I think facing up to Salah, Firmino, and Mane.
Yeah, look, as I said, I thought they were good for about 40 minutes. And they were 1-0 down at half time. They were a little bit unfortunate. I just thought in transition of the ball, I thought they just looked so open, and it's not usually like Chelsea. They're usually for me, they're quite compact down the centre of the park, and they will push you wide and then try defend and sometimes hit you on the break. I know people would say the Hazard thing is a massive miss. He's going to be. He's one of the best players in the league, if not Europe. But you're saying the squad you see is the squad you're going to face. And with Willian and Kante would probably be back, things like that. When the season gets going, do you expect Lampard to find his feet and push on with this Chelsea side and possibly push for top four, if not top four, being around top six?
I'd say we'll be pushing for top six. I honestly couldn't tell you. I think it's too early to even be having the conversation. I think you need to really. I think it's when December rolls around. Obviously, the old cliche of whoever's top of the league at Christmas is probably going to win it. The same goes for the top four, top six battle maybe. I personally think we could be in amongst that best of the rest. I think it's going to be a bit more open this year. That's what I think is going to be interesting. So I think it's going to be. I think we're going to get sixth, but I don't think it's going to be an easy battle for us at all.
Okay. Avi Hunter, our friend during the transfer window, Louis, you will not know. Grizz will, and other people will know. He wants to know when he could make his debut on this show. He's ready to explain the situation with Bruno. Avi will be in touch with you after this show, and we will absolutely sort that out.
He's blown that chance, hasn't he?
No. He's absolutely he's welcome on. Kevin Sullivan says that Pulisic looks a player, but Tammy Abraham doesn't have the experience to lead the line. We will get onto that later on when we get to lineups and stuff like that. Grizz, just going back, I done a show on Sunday with regards to the game, and they were talking about it last night and stuff like that. But just your take on Liverpool at the weekend. Louis there explained that the squad you see is the squad you're going to get. They are hampered. Lampard was kind of, the only man that would be looking to take that job because of, circumstance. But for you, and how did you feel Liverpool went? Because I tried to put it that I was at the game and Liverpool were probably at about 70% first half and probably 40 to 50% second half, probably saving some legs. But what did you make of Liverpool first day of the season on Friday night?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you in terms of that first half was probably not scintillating best, but kind of we didn't really need to be. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. The goals were slightly soft, but saying that, I think Norwich are going to surprise a few people. I think they've got a very good manager, and I think they've got quite a few handy players. So I think they're going to cause a few people problems. Yes, you can call them naive, trying to play their way out of trouble against bloody Liverpool at Anfield. I mean, that's like just asking for trouble, isn't it? And we gave them trouble. 4-0 at half-time. It really is difficult to motivate yourself after that to sort of, go. I mean, first 10, 15 minutes into the second half, I thought, oh my God, this could be 7-8-9. We did have our chances. We failed to put them away. And then I think we just took our foot off the gas, and, Norwich being a possession-based team and sort of got back into it and created a few chances. Overall, I'd give our performance, even though it was 4-1. Was it 4-1 in the end? Yeah, 4-1. I'd probably give it about 6 or 7 out of 10, max 7 out of 10. But it just shows you the level we're at, that, days gone past, there was no way we were going to sort of win at sort of 60, 70%, but we can win games very comfortably now at 60, 70%. So yeah, good start. Would have liked the clean sheet, but never mind. And I'm kind of looking forward to tomorrow's Super Cup final, actually. I mean, there's loads of debate whether it's a major trophy or does it count or whatever. But look, at the end of the day, it is a day out for the fans, and it's becoming slightly more prestigious than it has in the past. And it's recognised by UEFA, so, we'll count it.
Yeah. Dixon87 here says that Louis fella, the Chelsea fan, talks some sense. You're off to a flyer here, Louis. You really are. Grizz doesn't get open in comments like that, and most of the time I don't either. But just some people have asked, because of this stuff came out around City today and the punishment they've received for, I think it's approaching young players and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go into that in depth. But with Chelsea having a transfer ban, I think Chelsea's one was it over FFP?
No, it was over approaching young players.
Right,
exactly the same thing.
Okay, exactly the same thing. So it looks like City have held their hands up to this and being fined somewhere in the region of £300,000. Do you feel a little bit aggrieved with this, Louis?
Yeah. I mean, I think clearly UEFA just didn't want to, annoy their masters. So, the paycheck has to come in somehow, doesn't it? But I mean, I'm trying to keep a level head.
Be politically correct. Yeah, I understand.
It's one of those where it's just like, do you know what? Like I just don't understand why it's a different punishment for someone else and the different one for another party as well. It's like, look, I think if we've done it, and we have, we've been fined, rightly so. Hold your hands up to it, move on. We've got a transfer ban. We just have to do what we have to do. What annoys me is the fact that there's no continuity and everyone's getting different things, and that's where the whole debate comes up of, is UEFA corrupt? Are they this? Are they that? And then it just sparks debates. It makes everyone look bad. It's just unnecessary. I'm not sitting here saying City are getting special treatment, but they are getting special treatment. It's one of those where I'm just like, I read it, saw it, went, you know what, I'm just going to completely ignore it and move on from that. But it's just a lot of rubbish for me.
Kev O'Sullivan asks Louis, did Chelsea have a previous warning over this and then it was compounded by doing it again? Can you give me a slight bit of background on it? Is it something that's being affected by doing it again rather than a first-time offence?
So we had a transfer ban previously in 2010 for Gael Kakuta.
Okay.
So he was underage and we signed him. And then
Chelsea legend.
Yeah, the guy that did absolutely nothing, which is a massive waste of time. But it's okay. We did all right without him. But I don't know if we had any previous warnings. I just think we might have just done a lot in comparison to City and approached them a lot more variety of younger players rather than maybe City have only approached one or two. But I don't know. I'm not one to. So I'm not part of the club and I'm obviously not part of the legal proceedings, but I'm sure we'll find out everything from both parties, obviously City and Chelsea, when they've served their bans and stuff, or their respective bans and paid their fines.
Yeah, you know something, Grizz, I'm going to ask you this question because you'll be more impartial than Louis would to this, but with this sort of thing, does there need to be a mandatory punishment where if you're caught doing this, whether it's one player or five, you're given a transfer window ban? If levels to this, where if they find you've done level 3, you get a transfer window ban, a fine, and then it could be points deductions. Does there need to be a system in place where we're not all guessing for months what will happen to a Chelsea or a Man City or anybody else for that matter? Does it need to be legislated a lot better to stop rumour going around about FIFA or whatever are under UEFA or are under certain clubs' thumbs? Does it need to be done like that?
Of course it does, Gav. I mean, and the biggest, the most hilarious thing is there is no mystery of what was going to happen. I mean, and along with probably 96% of football fans anywhere across the board knew that City won't get a transfer ban. We just knew that. I
felt he might get a transfer ban, but it would be the January window, and that would even be a lighter slap than money.
I knew. Now, most people knew they're going to get a slap on the wrist and a little fine, and that's and if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be mad frustrated. I mean, Lou kept quite calm then. I would be absolutely seething if I was a Chelsea fan. At the double standards of the hypocrisy. Fair enough, we don't know the crux of it, but I can't see it being much difference in terms of, what the crime was. It's fairly obvious. It's the same crime. It's just unfortunate, or Chelsea have got a fine and a. Did you get a fine as well, didn't you, Lou? And a transfer ban.
I think it was just a ban.
Oh, was it just a ban?
I think it was just a ban.
Okay.
From what I remember.
But you know what the thing is, like, a fine means nothing to these clubs. You could fine any Premier League club £10 million tomorrow for approaching a young guy that plays for Gillingham, and they just turn around and go, yeah, whatever. It's no big deal. There's a fella running out of his contract there, and he's on 50 grand a week. So that's $2.5 million of a back over a year. Anyway, a lot of people there are backing you up, Louis, and they're saying, that they would be furious too. There's a waste of time finding a club that's owned by a country, which is fair enough. Phil Quinn says Chelsea didn't offer FIFA enough money. Now, the talk is that FIFA, UEFA, and is it the FA and the Premier League are all looking at this at the same time with regards to City. So we'll have to see what punishments come down the road. I'm really interested in the FA. I'm not so much UEFA, because I find UEFA, when it comes to things like racism, they hand out 25 grand fines, and stuff like that. So UEFA will kind of go along the lines of FIFA. They'd probably get a fine of half what FIFA have fined them. So, but the Premier League and the FA would face, for me, a major backlash from clubs all throughout the Premier League and beyond if this isn't looked at very seriously. If they are holding their hands up to what they say, and it will be tapping up players and it will be FFP, so look, we'll have to wait and see. I just wanted to touch on that because a Chelsea fan being here and them having a ban and in City news coming out today, so I wanted to touch on it. But look, we'll move on to the game on Wednesday night. So Grizz, first things first, two players that have kind of been, three I suppose, in the news this week. I suppose you could say forward Alisson, but look, if I keep going I'll end up telling you the whole squad. But you have Andy Lonergan comes in on a short-term deal because of Alisson's injury. You have Dejan Lovren looking like he's on the way to Roma for around 15 million plus add-ons, and you have Naby Keita, who wasn't carried off injured in training by any means, but left training early, and it looked like it might be a muscle strain. Just on those three, what's your feelings on them quickly?
Yeah, Alisson, there was a lot of rumours, wasn't there, about how it could be more serious and, is it his Achilles and, blah, blah, blah. But it turns out that it's exactly what they said in the first place initially. Klopp came out, didn't he, in the press conference, or was it just from the club website saying that, he's heard rumours of months and months, which is, not true. We're looking at probably around the 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks out. So that's not as bad as it could have been, especially with the international break coming up. So that's fine. The Irish fella we've signed in goal, that'll do. It's not a problem. Hopefully, fingers crossed. The chances of him making an appearance are slim, unless we're totally cursed and Adrian gets injured as well.
I think you make a League Cup start because they'll have to put Adrian aside for
why?
Well, if Alisson is injured and Adrian's your number one for the foreseeable, which is probably, I don't think it'll be 6 to 8 weeks. I think it'll be longer. You'll have to put Lonergan in goal for your League Cup game because you're not going to risk what is essentially a first choice goalkeeper in a League Cup game.
All right, maybe a League Cup game, but from what I remember of Adrian now, it's funny, innit? You have to start remembering, was Adrian any good for West Ham? I just can't remember him being sort of bad.
Takes great penalties.
He takes good penalties, yeah. Fair enough. He's a bit of a mad one, apparently, isn't he? Yeah, he does crazy things, apparently. But then we're used to that with the likes of Dudek and Grobbelaar, etc., etc. So we love our loony keepers. So I think he'll fit in just nice. Naby's a bit of a worry. Naby's a bit of a worry, man. We're just, you wonder, are we ever going to see the best of Naby? Is he going to ever be fully fit to sort of, have that 10 games in a row where he can show his levels, which no doubt, are very high. But, just sometimes some moves just don't work out, Gavin. I really worry, is this one of those moves that are just not going to work out eventually? Because, slowly the pressure will build, Gav. He was a 60 million player.
I think.
Do you know what I mean? So
I think it may build, but I think there's a bit of a overreaction over a toy muscle or whatever it is. This is a guy that.
You say that.
Listen, Chris, this happens all the time. Listen to me. This happens all the time. A guy goes away and plays in an international tournament, which he was treated fairly badly, by his country. They were insisting on him playing, and he was injured. He comes back, he plays a couple of games, he looks fine. He has a bit of a tight muscle. It happens all the time. You know what I mean?
No problem. I accept that.
What I will say to you is, if he's out of this game tomorrow night and he's out with Southampton for argument's sake and he comes back and then there's niggles constantly going on, yes, I'd be with you. But I think, looking at his circumstance over the summer, how he's come back, he's played a couple of games, looked fine, a little bit of a tight muscle, no problem. And I think Klopp would rather than turn around and go, listen boss, this is a little bit tight. And he goes, yeah, no problem, don't worry about it, we'll sort it out, rather than try play through it and make it worse. So that's just my take on him.
No, that's a very fair take. And yeah, I'm willing to go with that for now. But I'm just saying, I'm kind of speculating, and I'm saying, let's say, he misses the next 2 games, all right, fair enough. Then he comes back, has a bit of a run of 1-2 games and breaks down again. Mm-hmm. When do we start comparing him to the likes of, dare I say, Adam Lallana, Lovren, etc., etc.? Do you know these guys that are sort of known to be, unreliable and injury prone? He's missed a fair chunk, and from what I know, or from what, unless you can correct me, there's not been any major injury issue. It's just small little muscle strains here and there, from what I know.
Hmm.
So you can excuse the likes of Oxlade to be out for a number of months when it had a serious injury, but Naby hasn't had a serious per se injury. It's been small niggles here and there. So look, I want to give him absolutely every chance to prove himself, because I'm one of his biggest fans in terms of football and what he can achieve in terms of his level and skill and what he can bring to our team. But there's always that fear factor in the back of your head when he misses. He just can't get a continuous run of games. You just think, is it going to work out for him? Us and. But fingers crossed, as you said, it's just something minor, and it's come at the early stage of the season. Plenty of games to go, and hopefully he can get himself fit.
Yeah. People are asking there about Adrian. One person said, "How do you feel the back four will react to him? With him being, more of a goal line keeper rather than an aggressor like Allison." And I think somebody says there he'd be fine. He'll have a better back four than he's ever had before in front of him. I think that's Kev O'Sullivan says that. I'd agree with that. For me on Friday night, he was on the edge of his box all the time when we were in possession. He was very vocal to all the players around him. He looked to settle in all right. And look, a couple of games, you give him the benefit of the doubt, and then you see how we go with regards to Adrian. Somebody says there they're genuinely devastated by Keita. He watched Bundesliga football and couldn't wait to see Keita in the Liverpool shirt. Other people are saying opportunities for Ox with Naby being out. So there's plenty there, I suppose, to kind of chew on and see what happens. But I think a little clip of Naby Keita coming off with a tight muscle strain. It could be anything. He could have got a dead leg. It could be anything. We actually don't know. We're just speculating. But just before I forget, we're giving away a free bet tonight for the game tomorrow. It's a bet of your choice. You make it up. We do the odds. We put it out there. And Louis, I apologise in advance. The people that win, the people that can win this tonight, all you have to do is post up on the comments your favourite goal against Chelsea. Any goal you want. But
could it be a Chelsea goal against Liverpool, like Demba Bars when Steven Gerrard slipped?
No, I don't think that'll make it. But I can put it to the listeners, and we'll see how we get on.
That Louis speaks sense is definitely going to change.
Yeah,
now.
That's absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely finished. But no, your favourite goal against Chelsea from whenever you want, and I'll pick the one that kind of catches me eye, and then I'll contact you and you give me the bet, and we'll post it on Twitter and stuff like that. I will go through a couple of specials before we finish up. But lads, looking towards, we've spoken about a couple of players there on the Liverpool side. Looking at a couple of players, Louis, on the Chelsea side before we go into lineup predictions and score predictions. There's just a couple I picked out. One is Azpilicueta. The second one is Kante, and the third one is Pulisic. And the reason I picked them out is Azpilicueta for me has been a sensational defender for Chelsea from the day he arrived. It's my opinion that he should go back and play centre half, possibly in his free. Kante will be more and more valuable than he's ever been to Chelsea this season, in my opinion, because of the predicament they're in. And Pulisic, I just wanted your thoughts on how you see him fitting in, and do you expect big things from him? I know that's an awful lot to put to you, Louis, but do your absolute best with it.
No, it's fine. I mean, first of all, I think that's been quite a thing. Definitely agree with you. He got caught out massively at the weekend. He's kind of been tasked with bombing down that right hand side now, where that wasn't completely certain at some points last season. He's now been tasked with getting forward, and at the beginning of the game it looked good. By the back end of the game, we were completely exposed at the back. He just simply doesn't have the legs for it, and to be honest, he's good offensively, but he's much better defensively, and I think it'd be better to use those assets at a centre half spot. Question is who comes out, Christensen or Zuma. Obviously, when Rudiger's fit as well, there's going to be a lot of contention for spots. And in terms of those right back slots, you've obviously got Davide Zappacosta as someone who could come in as an option, who's not great, but obviously there is this phenomenal talent, probably Chelsea's great young talent at the moment, other than Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, is Reece James. And there's a lot of potential for him to be coming into the side, and it's been talked about a lot, especially after his amazing stint at Wigan last year, where he pretty much played everywhere and was phenomenal in every position. So it'll be good to see him come into the side. So yeah, on that, completely agree. Kante, again, defensively all over the place, and we had pretty much had no midfield at the weekend. Kante next to Jorginho or Kovacic in those two deep line position. One of those two deep line positions would be ideal. He's a doubt for tomorrow. He's probably
somebody has asked there, is he a doubt for tomorrow?
Yeah, he's pretty much on the verge. It's not sure. He's pretty on 70%, but we saw him pocket apparently the South American Kante during Ramadan and on 40% fitness at the Europa League final. So if he does come into the side, it'll be good to see how important he is. But obviously, I prefer a fully fit Kante for Leicester at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Pulisic, he had a bit of a rude awakening when it comes to the Premier League when he rinsed Wan-Bissaka, then got sandwiched between him and Pogba for physicality. I remain sceptical, as bad as that sounds. Yes, he's still a kid, and yes, he can still develop. However, he was pushed aside out of that Dortmund team by Jadon Sancho. The actual statistics don't look that great, and also I think the huge pressure of being, quote unquote, the guy to replace Hazard, even though he's really not, because he can't replace Hazard. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles that. I think it's very harsh what I'm saying, and I completely understand that. But I'm a glass half empty kind of guy. I'm a bit of a pessimist, and obviously I'm kind of sitting there going, look, let's see what he does. He could have an amazing season, and you can definitely see, with a ball over the top, the pace the kid has is unreal. I can say that because he's a year younger than me, and that's even more depressing. But I think that it'll be interesting to see how he tackles the Premier League. And when it comes to pace and how we play, we seem to be liking to press high at the pitch and really be aggressive and have a lot of energy. And unfortunately, Pedro and Willian probably aren't going to be able to do that much longer. Willian longer than Pedro. Pedro is more of a probably guy that you're going to play down the middle now. Because he just doesn't have the pace anymore. But we'll have to see. Christian Pulisic, I hope he proves my pessimism wrong coming into the season.
Yeah, just looking at Chelsea, look, I'm just thinking here as you're talking, and for me, if I was Chelsea, I would try my best to get it back. I know I've said about Azpilicueta playing in a three, but if you was to persist with Azpilicueta as right back in a back four, I think for me, I'd be looking at Chelsea to say, right, Jorginho and Kante in a two in midfield, and then you could go something like Pulisic, you could go Pedro in the middle as a 10, the kind of way, and you could have somebody out on the right, and then you're looking at one striker. They still have good options there for me. It's just Lampard's been thrown in at the deep end. It's hard to put your stamp on a team when you're not allowed to bring anybody in, so I feel a bit sorry for him in that. He done quite well at Derby County last year, and then this comes along, but they have got assets there. It's just getting them right. But yourself, if it goes 6-8 league games and they've only won one or two, or there's a couple of draws or a couple of dodgy things in there, it can go south very, very, very fast. But we'd have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Going on to the game though. So, Grizz, I'm going to come to you, and a lot of people are asking here, do you think we might rotate for this game because we look like we are slowing down against Norwich in preparation for this game? And literally, we think every league game is a must-win, the way ourselves and City carried on last season. But looking at the way we may line up, Grizz, what's your feeling, line-up wise?
Yeah, I think we would have made a fair number of changes. I think I'm pretty certain Naby was due to start, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. Does it give Ox an opportunity maybe to get into the team? He hasn't looked great in pre-season. I think me and you've discussed this before. Slight concerns again with Ox. I know he's been out for X amount. Maybe I'm being slightly harsh on him that, I'm not being harsh on him. I'm just kind of being real and just saying how it is. He's coming back from one of the most horrific injuries if any footballer is likely to get. Will he ever get back to that dynamic box-to-box midfielder that Klopp had turned him into centrally? Fingers crossed, touch wood and pray to every god, hope he does. Does he get a look in tomorrow? Maybe with the absence of Keita. I think I think Matip gets a start. I think Mane gets a start. So that's 2 definite changes. I think Naby was going to be the third one. I definitely think he's going to shake you up in midfield. Maybe even rest Fabinho. Fabinho covered a lot of ground in that game. I saw a stat where it said he sort of made more tackles. Check this one for a stat. He made more tackles than Southampton. The whole team of Southampton.
He tackled Henderson
Yeah.
at the end of the half.
Oh, he fucking tackles anything and everything.
Henderson,
Mad.
I don't know if you've seen this, Louis. You probably didn't because it wasn't in the highlights package. But against Norwich, the ball is in the middle of the park. It's the whistle's about to go for half time. Henderson goes to take the ball to the chest, and Fabinho just runs at him at about 100 miles an hour and headers him. He literally headies the guy in the middle of the pitch, and
oh no, he's mental.
He hits the ground, and the whistle's blown. Fabinho's an animal.
We're gonna need him in.
Jesus.
Near enough. We're gonna need him in every Premier League game near enough. So I think these are the kind of games. Maybe he's given a little bit of a rest and a day off. Maybe Gini now gets into that sort of number 6 role. Maybe Adam Lallana gets a game. So yeah, I think we have got a few options there in midfield to bring in, freshen it up. I think the front 3 will be reunited. I think Mane will come back in for sure. It's in midfield where I think we're likely to maybe make possibly 2 changes, and of course Matip for Gomez.
Okay, so you're going to go with Adrian and goal. You're going to
go.
All
right. So if you want me to pick a team,
yeah,
as you do, and I get slightly confused because you confuse me, but I'm going to try not to get confused.
No, it's not that. It's because you can't count.
All right. So we're looking for 11 players, right? So
Absolutely.
we're going Adrian, and we're going Trent, Matip. I was going to say Lovren, VVD, Robbo. I think Gini. It would have been Naby. I think Gini, Hendo, and Ox. Okay. And then the front 3.
Okay, fair enough. Louis, on to you, the Chelsea side that you will pick. And just to make it fair, Louis, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let people, on top of their favourite goal against Chelsea, I'm going to let people pick the one Chelsea player that they would have loved Liverpool to sign. But I am going to exclude Eden Hazard, because I'll just end up with Hazard all over the screen. So if people want to give me their favourite Chelsea player that they would have loved Liverpool to sign, throw them in there as well. So, Louis, to you, your Chelsea team for tomorrow night.
I was deliberating over this earlier when I was filming my preview, and I'm still not 100% certain. I think the backline's going to be the same as United, because I think Lampard, he said it in his pre-match press conference that it's a really important time. He, as a player, he was always going out to win the finals, irrespective of what it was, and it's no different for this. So I think he's going to go for it. So it'll probably be Kepa in goal, Emerson at left back, Azpilicueta at right back. It will be Zuma and Christian as the 2 centre halves, because Rudiger's still not 100%. I reckon it will be Kovacic and Jorginho again. It will be. I think he'll put Ross Barkley in at number 10 and rotate a bit with Mason Mount. Although he has stated that Mason Mount deserves an opportunity, so he might even still be in the side. So, for the sake of argument, I'll put Mason Mount in as well. And I think Pulisic will get his first start. And it's a toss-up between Giroud and Batshuayi for me.
Okay.
Up front, I'm not 100% certain. I'll go Batshuayi. I reckon he might start him.
I would have went with him as well, because I think Giroud is quite good physically, but we have Virgil van Dijk, whereas Batshuayi has that little bit better movement and a bit more pace. And I think Chelsea are going to sit back and they might need that pace on the break. That's just my opinion on Chelsea. So listen, we're going to have to do scores. I don't know if it goes to extra time and penalties or straight to penalties. I haven't looked it up. I don't do research like that. Maybe one of you two know. But Grizz, the score prediction for tomorrow night?
Score prediction for tomorrow night is, I think we win 3-1.
3-1. Okay, no problem. I'm not going to ask you for goal scorers. I won't do that. Louis, for you, a match prediction, score prediction for tomorrow night?
I think it would probably be the most Chelsea thing ever to lose 4-0 to Manchester United at the weekend and then somehow scrape a victory against you in the Super Cup. I'm going to go 1-1 and we win it on penalties.
Okay, 1-1 on
Is there extra time tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't know if it goes straight to penalties or it goes to extra time. I would presume with it being an official game, it would go to extra time. Chris Brack says it does go to extra time and then penalties. Dazzler says 4-1 to Liverpool. A few people are coming in with their players like Robin, Zola, Lampard, Drogba, Mata. There's loads of different players coming in there. So yeah, James Kelly reckons it's a Mane hat-trick tomorrow in a 4-1 win. But look, we've done all our bits there with regards to the game and with regards to lineups and scores and stuff. Just a couple of specials for you for tomorrow night from Paddy Power. On Paddy Power, you can go to football, you can go to specials, and then you can go down and you can actually find an LFC Day for specials page. Just a few I picked out there. Mane, Salah and Firmino all to score is 8-1. Matip to score and Liverpool to win both halves is 20-1. And the one I like the most, Kante and Fabinho to be booked. Both teams to score and over 10.5 corners is 50-1. But if you go onto that specials page, there's loads of them there.
Kante won't play, Gav. Kante won't play.
Yeah, but he'd be booked anyway. It's just what happens.
Yeah, but he won't do anything stupid. He's too nice for that. Everyone loves N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, but they'll book him anyway. They will. They'll do it
for being too nice.
They'll do it for something. So look,
I heard those lads have some odds on. Maybe we should book him so some people get some wins.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Paddy Power told me today that the specials for the Norwich game returned €3,000 in winnings to people that bet on them. So that wasn't bad for the weekend. So look, lads, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me. It's late enough at night. I know people have work to do tonight and tomorrow and things like that, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Louis, it's been a pleasure. I'd love to have you on again when we come to face Chelsea again, if that's possible.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you very much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Good. And I think we were nice enough to you, weren't we?
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. I survived.
All right, just about. Grizz, listen, thanks a million for joining me, Grizz.
Yeah, you're all right, mate.
No worries.
For disturbing me today.
Okay, no problem. Listen, that's been the Fatback 4 Daily. That's been it for Tuesday, the 13th of August. I always forget these dates. We will be back with you tomorrow at 10 p.m, providing the game doesn't go to extra time. If it goes to extra time, we will be straight with you after the game ends or comes to some sort of conclusion, and Kante gets booked. We're not coming on until Kante gets booked. But no, that's been it. That's been really good. I will have a look back through the broadcast and I will pick out, if not one, I'll probably split the bet in two. One for a player that's being picked, one for a favourite goal that's being picked. I will contact those people. I will put the bet on whatever bet you want and post her on Twitter and stuff like that. But look, that's been the Fatback 4 Daily. Thanks for joining us. Over now.